What is happening? Welcome to this week's episode of the Craft of Pitching podcast by pitcherlist.com. My name is Nick Pollack, and today, well, we'd only have so many weeks left of the regular season, and I thought to myself, my gosh, I got to make sure that I bring Eno Sarris onto this podcast before the season ends. So, Eno, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, happy to be here.
So
Happy to try and do the impossible.
And what is the impossible, Eno?
Judge not only the changing nature of the true talent of a pitcher, but also throw into the mix the true talent of the opposing team that they're going to face. And then as a third thing, how they might interact with each other, how their stuff might interact with each other. Yeah.
You know what's really funny is in all cases like this, whenever you say, Nick, this is impossible, when I do the stuff talking about pitching, I can't do those things. And what is my answer every time? Well, then don't do it.
Yeah, don't stream if you don't have to, I guess.
Yeah, well, don't rank the injured guys. Don't rank the minor league guys.
Yeah.
And when it becomes the last week of August every year, what I do is I stop doing my top 100. And instead, I don't do a ranking anymore. I just put them into groups based on their schedule, saying like, well, this is an auto start. This is a guy who's just generally very good, and you're going to feel pretty good just starting him regardless, but you might not want to once or twice. Here's your desperate streamer. Here's your cherry bomb high upside thing, and just be done. I'm not actually going to rank him. Oh, it's so easy. Just, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. You're great at what you do. Make your life easier. And what we're doing today, though, is part of that impossible. Is actually telling you the ones based on all the expected schedules, who you should be circling early, late, maybe a couple times, and who are the ones that you might want to actually avoid, even though they've been so good for you so far this year. And Eno has done a wonderful job of collecting some names himself and saying these are the guys I'm actually very interested in, and maybe some that you want to avoid. And I want to hear the first one, the most obvious one, the easy one they added to your list to, yes, I am focused on this guy at some point in September to be a good streaming target.
I don't know that it's super obvious, but the one that jumped off the screen when I looked at like team schedules and was like, I kind of started from like, who's got an easy team schedule, and the Cardinals do. Now, see,
they do.
The problem is the Cardinals don't have very good pitchers.
They've got one, maybe.
Michael McGreevy?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And Michael McGreevy is also distinguishes himself from other guys on the team in that he gets the at Seattle that not every other St. Louis pitcher gets. So what I think is his schedule is home against the Giants, at the Mariners, home against the Reds, and then at the Giants, which I think has got to be an A+ schedule. I think
it is the best schedule of any pitcher, I think. I went through all of them, the expected ones by team in that edition of the list. And Michael McGreevy was the one that stood out of like, okay, you have, I don't know who you are in the good favor of, but my gosh, Lady Luck loves you. And he also had 7 strikeouts on Tuesday night, which is very strange. 2 home runs as well against the Pirates in that first one. But
I think he's an interesting pitcher overall.
Absolutely. He's a command guy,
Right. And he may be like better than some of the models will predict and stuff. And I mean, he does that thing where he has 6 pitches, Yeah. And he has great command of 6 pitches. And in any given night, like I've seen him break off some changeups that were like I had someone message you like, what was the spin axis on this one? Like every once in a while, some of his changeups are like, just go the opposite direction. Like he catches some seams on those. Generally, though, he's a guy who can spin it and has 3 breaking balls. And I just like the combination of I don't know if it's obvious because he's a lower owned guy in a lot of places. He's not going to give you a ton of strikeouts, but I think the wins could be there. And then you can get to strikeouts with bulk sometimes by like, I'll get you to 5 or 6 strikeouts by going 6 or 7, And I just like the combination of talent and that schedule the best, I think.
Well,
that was what left off the page.
It's surprising he had 7 strikeouts yesterday. I'm like, oh yeah, you're not going to get that. You're going to get maybe ratios, a quality start or a win. And like, 7 strikeouts. Okay, fine. The interesting note, though, I am curious how much Oopsie projections take into account the number one team defense in the majors, that is the Cardinals. And that's something that I'm certainly in love with too, with the Cardinals in general, just thinking, okay, sure, I'm not going to start Andre Pallante. We know that. I'm not going to walk another miles in Michaelis's shoes. But and Matthew Liberatore, he's on my avoid list because I believe he's fatigued. I believe he's not pitching nearly as well over the past month. Even the Cardinals recognized it, I think, and they started to try to limit him. And even then, it just didn't really help. And even though he has at Seattle and the Reds carpet that is hosting the Reds in his schedule, I might be avoiding it, save for that one Cincinnati game on September 15th.
Yeah, I too chose McGreevy over Liberatore. It was just,
yes.
It was like given that all the Cardinals have a pretty good schedule, which one do I basically like the best? And it's Sonny. I think Sonny's probably he's not like on waiver wire.
Well, this is kind of why I have it grouped that way. It's like, who cares if I have Sonny Gray above or below George Kirby? Like, you're not dropping either one.
Right.
The trade deadline's done.
The trade deadline's gone for the most part.
What's the point? I was curious if your projections, how much they take into account team defense, because that is the elite. That is the number one team defense in the majors.
That is a good question. I don't. It's not my projections, Jordan Rosenblum's, but I will see that the Oopsie has a 303 BABIP allowed for McGreevy projected, while Zips has a 288, and that is a fairly large spread, especially for a rookie, basically, and not a rookie who demonstrated low BABIPs in the minors. So I would posit to you that is exactly the effect that you're talking about. Zips is taking into account team defense in a stronger way than Oopsie.
So the one element about McGreevy that's interesting here is that he's not a southpaw with a changeup, and we just saw a couple of them appear within the last week. We were even joking last time, like, okay, cool, Parker Messick is just going to be great now, and he was effective yesterday. And before that, it was Ian Jemming of Ian Seymour. It's James Bond, okay? Stop it, don't give me the head shake.
I will.
Now, between the two, Ian Seymour's schedule does seem a little bit better. Obviously, you have to deal with Tampa Bay.
I like Messick on talent better, though.
Okay, so tell me about that.
I just think there's slightly more velo. I don't know. I was a little bit more impressed with his command. They live in kind of different places. Messick lives down and Seymour lives up.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Messick's command was absurdly good yesterday. Changes are down, four-seamer was up, and I actually do wonder, 16 inches of vert with 1.1 height-adjusted VAA means it's slightly flat, and that four-seamer got 8 whiffs on 44 thrown.
And yeah, I think he has slightly better stuff. Seymour, I was talking about it. Somebody said, oh, well, he has 17 inches of IVB. And so, that's pretty good movement. And I said, well, and I did the actual query where I don't usually do this, but I did the actual query. That strikes me as dead zone given his arm angle.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I just took 2 degrees around his arm angle, 2 degrees less and 2 degrees more. And I just said, what's the IVB on this arm angle? And it was 16.5.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's almost like in my mind, I'm like, well, okay, so that inches over dead zone is 0.5, and I know that the good players are like 2 and 3, the really good ones, and then it's okay is over 1. So this is fairly dead zone fastball for Seymour. So
right.
I wasn't as impressed by Seymour. I like Messick on talent better.
So I'm with you on that. So this was at Cleveland too. Was the start for Seymour. He is going to the Nationals next. And especially when it comes, it's really funny to me. The Guardians and the Nationals are your extreme left-handed lineups against right-handers. And they do have some right-handers for lefties, but they're a step down. And then you talk about the lefty on lefty matchup, which is the best one in baseball. It makes it so that these are the best 2 teams to face as a lefty and out of Tampa Bay. So we just saw success for Ian Seymour. What was it, 8 Ks in 5 innings and like 2 base runners or something in his first start as a Ray. Even though it wasn't a super high pitch count, it might still be somewhat limited. He does get the Nationals next. That is certainly a stream I would be circling In the short term, that is on Sunday.
But he highlights a problem that I had in the uneven. So how many times does he pitch at home? I mean, I know that they're having kind of an uneven schedule.
You really put me onto that so much more about Tampa Bay, talking about how I think it was Pepio was saying how I just want the lab again of Tropicana, and it's just you don't know where the ball's going.
The pitches don't move the same,
right?
And then the hitters like the most wind-aided homer of the year was in Tampa. So, but you know, this is a problem where like, you know, Slate Ciccone, you know, I like his schedule from like 30,000 feet because I'm like, oh, he's got Tampa at home, at Boston, at Tampa, Chicago White Sox, at Detroit. I like that group. I really would never start him at Boston, and I may never start him at Tampa. So it's one of those things where you have him on your team and then you drop him and then you get him back on your team. Like it's really hard to be
that's
like,
the thing. The up and
here's
down.
a pickup for the final month, you know?
Right. It's really difficult to do that, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Ian Seymour is one that I would go for, and I'm really Parker Messick. After what you did see, are you writing this for as long as the Guardians will let him? Right now, we don't have it set for a long, for really even another start. We just have him with that one single start against the Rays, and then John Means theoretically coming back. However, John Means is not ready to come back next week. It looks like it might not even be ready for 2. But then that would be
that actually hurt me. I was looking at Messick and I was like, I don't know how many I can give him.
Right. Well, the thing is, it's at Fenway and then at Tampa Bay would actually be his next 2.
And that's the stuff I don't like about Ciccone, right? Like that's the part of the schedule I don't love. And
so
in your schedule grid, you had at Tampa as green, but I think that's because
I don't know if I agree with it. This is PLV projections, so I'll just yell at
also the overall quality of the team. Like the team is good, but the park is pretty tough.
It does take into account. No, it's pitching in those parks.
Oh, okay.
In those places. Some places do get different. So that is like,
well, the thing that's so tough about Tampa is that it's the number 1 wind aided park in the league, which means that some days it's like Wrigley. You have to think about it like Wrigley. Right. Some days it's going to be a great place to pitch your pitcher, and some days it's going to be an awful place to pitch your pitcher.
Sounds like Derek Hardy's favorite place.
Yeah. Let's just get out of there,
dude. Right. So would you, let's say it is at Fenway and at Tampa Bay, would you be suggesting streaming in a 12-teamer for Parker Messick?
I don't want that Fenway start. I don't like pitching young pitchers in Fenway. I barely like pitching any pitchers in Fenway.
Absolutely. I think we're on the same page there. And who else is on your list, would you say, of guys that you saw their schedule and you're like, oh, maybe actually this is something that I would turn to?
Houston's schedule is not that bad. Spencer Areghetti gets at home against the Angels, at Texas, and Texas has been playing like a real pitcher's park this year. I mentioned on Rates and Barrels that I'm hearing chatter that the humidors, that the hitters have some data on humidors being out of whack or something. I can't speak to that.
Did you sneak in there like tiptoeing with your long mustache and like turn the knob up just slightly?
More offense, please, or less offense, they're saying. Yes. So Angels at home, Texas on the road, at Atlanta, which would normally be a problem and can still be a problem, but is not the problem that it has been in the past.
Right.
And then versus Seattle at home. And I know Seattle's been pretty good of an offense, but taken in whole, there's what this schedule does for me that I like is I could actually tell you that you can pick up Spencer Areghetti for the last month and you might be able to hold him through all those starts.
Yeah.
You might be able to start him for all those starts. There are other guys that, I'm like, well, like Martin Perez starts off with at New York against the Yankees. No.
Right.
But then done. But then after that, it's at Detroit, Tampa at home, Baltimore at home. It's like,
right.
There's some little spots there. You're like, oh yeah, that at Detroit start, I might start Martin Perez. Areghetti is like a better streamer if you're like, I need to pick up one guy that I just think will be better for this last month. And if you want a dropper, Chris Paddack's schedule is awful.
Is it a pipette? Can we call it that?
What?
A pipette, a dropper. It's a Yeah, so Chris Paddack does have a bad one, but it does open up a little bit.
I mean, all right. So he has Kansas. It's okay at the beginning, but then
it's really the Cleveland start that I'm thinking of at home against Cleveland. That could work because also the left-handed lineup I think speaks well to Paddack because when he does well, it's about him working the changeup really well with the four-seamer to left-handers. And when it's bad, it's because generally the slider or the curve or whatever breaking ball he chooses that day, it just is not good and gets crushed by right-handers. I also, staying with Detroit quickly, Charlie Morton is someone that should be circled right now because, yeah, he did not do well in Sacra Verde, right, against the Athletics in Sacramento. And he gets the Mets next. Doesn't matter. But we've actually seen it for about a month now, really since coming back from the rotation. His strikeouts are there. His curveball is fantastic. And then it's going to be Chicago, who I used to call the Cry Sox, but now I'm calling the Sly Stocks because they're sneaky good of an offense. They're like, you got to be a little careful. But then it's at Miami. And okay, that's September 13th if everything just kind of holds with this 5-man rotation. That is value right there. He is rostered in fewer than 20% of leagues. A lot of people will be well inside their playoffs. That is a Saturday. And you have to be aware of that start to me because I feel like that could be a double-digit strikeout game for Morton that can really shift your week.
Yeah, there's some risk there, but I think the Morton call is pretty good. With Morton, one thing that I think about is that he has this great breaking ball, and the Braves are among teams. They have the 6th most tilt in baseball.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh.
And
I can't wait.
I'm a little bit worried that that the Braves might have the kind of swing paths to do that. Just in case you're kind of looking for some rubrics, I would say it this way. Like, I think people know that the Dodgers offense is kind of one to avoid. But the Tigers and Angels and Pirates, they go 2, 3, 4 and tilt. So those 3 teams are somewhat dangerous against sinker ballers and guys who throw a lot of breaking balls at the bottom of the zone because they have the tilt to match up with it. On the other end, a surprising team, let's say you have a guy with a good flat fastball that lives at the top of the zone. You would be a little bit more nervous than usual against the Marlins, Brewers, Royals, and Red Sox. If you think of Roman Anthony, he has a very flat swing. He is ready to hit homers on. And Junior Caminero, the Rays are 5th. Those are the types of swings that can hit the high fastball, the high sort of flatter fastball very well. So if you've got a high VAA, high like sort of 4-seam, high ride guy, you want to be a little bit careful, maybe a little bit more careful than you thought against the Marlins, Brewers, Royals, Red Sox, and Rays.
So just a quick note on that, on bat tilt and really just thinking about this from a pitching standpoint. I have a few thoughts actually, and I'll share those with you guys after this break. So I love this part about baseball analytics is we keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper every single year, right? Having my my enlightenment with extension and verts and height adjusted VA was just within the last like 2-3 years for me, right? And it's just like, oh gosh, now this all makes sense. Before I would just see the outputs of it, which were better outputs than the other outputs, but it's just you just keep going down and down. And now bat tilt is just like so obvious. It's so clear of like, right, this guy is his skill set. What are his skills?
But it's hard to know. Contact. We don't yet have the framework about like how important that is. We can, for example, like you change your tilt, based on the ball coming in, right?
Yeah.
So how much of this is based on who they faced in the past? If they faced a lot of people with sinker balls and that's why their tilt is high. But they're also, if you look at Junior Caminero, he has a 28-degree average tilt. And if you look at Nick Kurtz, he has a 39-degree average tilt. They are swinging at pitches all over the zone, and they just have totally different tilt numbers. So, and they're totally, Nick Kurtz murders low pitches, and Junior Caminero is better at sort of belt high, belt and higher. So, it's definitely something that we're at the beginning of that is hard to know how to wrap that into what you already use.
Yeah.
And how much weight to put on it. And like, also what I just quoted to you was the sum of all the swing tilts on a team.
Right, which is hard to say. Are they getting fed certain things that make them do that constantly too?
But also, like, what if your low-powered guys have flat swings, but all your high-powered guys have high swings? And I just said, oh, don't throw your pitcher against that team because they have flat swings. But it's like, do they?
Yeah, right. For the ones that you want, right? Exactly.
Like I said, I was talking to somebody about the Pirates, and I was like, "Oh, does it surprise you that the Pirates are number 1 in bat speed?" And they're like, "Well, how much of that is O'Neal Cruz?"
Yeah, right.
Like just himself.
Yeah. And also, if you have the highest tilt, I would think that means you're swinging it low more often too. I mean, you called them a top 4 in tilt, I believe. And that means you're swinging low, which is faster than swinging up, right?
It's all that'll change your bat speed. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, good point. Yeah.
So also that does remind me, Eno was at Saber Seminar. And I remember seeing on Twitter and Blue Sky some great panels or just some hints at a lot of the things that were discussed.
I hope you didn't see that terrible video of me throwing my can.
Oh my God. Did you see my quote tweet? I said he's got that dog in him. Like,
oh my God.
You look, actually,
Robert Stocks says I throw like I have a shoulder injury.
No, but you looked good. I've seen so many people throw a baseball, who should not be throwing a baseball. You looked good.
Well,
I've seen videos of myself throwing a baseball, like at not first pitch, Tout Wars, like in 2016. I don't want to share it to people because I am just not doing anything. The whole thing is off because I'm trying to throw it like softer and I don't know how to do it. And I look so bad and it's embarrassing. So no, you looked great. I'm applauding you.
I wasn't trying to throw soft, so that helped me, I guess.
But you look good. And I saw something on Twitter and I wish I had the exact credit. And I know you'll know it instantly, talking about pitch recognition and when bat tilt changes. And I was hoping you could talk a little bit more about that and what you saw.
Yeah, it was a really great piece by Stephen Sutton Brown where he talked about he looked at so basically he used swing tilt and he said, like, if you swing with too high of a tilt and you swing under a ball, you were fooled, right? And if you swing with too flat of a tilt and you swing over a ball, you were fooled. You put a fastball swing on a slider,
right?
Or you put a slider swing, or whatever it is, you were fooled. And so he used that he's like, okay, we have a definition of being fooled, so let's try to predict being fooled. Let's use all the numbers that we have, the stuff plus type stuff, like the angles, and some sequencing. That's the pitch before, this and that, and the tunneling and all this stuff. Let's try to predict swings, like, and being fooled. And what he found was that batters with very low precision make a decision about swing shape early on. So they at release, and I think it's before release a little bit too, like if there's layback or they see fingers or they don't see finger, you know what I mean? Like they take some hints and they go fastball, or slider, and then that's in the first 100 milliseconds. And then from millisecond 100 to 300, they have better precision. They get better information. And that's when they decide to swing or not. So that doesn't make sense if you think, how could they decide to swing after, like, what it is actually is that's when they decide to stop swinging.
Yeah, right. Thank you for saying that because it drives me nuts. I've heard, how many times have you heard, it's impossible for a player to hit a baseball? It's like, well, because they are swinging until they're not. That's what they're doing. Yeah. They're always swinging.
So his data supports a yes, no model where you start your swing and you think fastball, and then you have another 200 milliseconds to decide if you're right or not.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's tunneling. So tunneling is, and it doesn't always have to be the same, because let's say you're throwing a changeup. This is Steven Sutton Brown's point. Is like, you're throwing a changeup in the zone. You don't have to tunnel that as well, because they could go fastball and then their extra information says no changeup, so they stop, and then they just took a changeup in the zone.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are some pitches. This is why big fastballs with humps, right? Swing rate is lower. How do people end up using them? For called strikes.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, big curveballs with humps, not fastballs with humps. Yeah, yeah.
Did I say fastball? Sorry.
Yeah. Maybe I just misheard. I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
big fastball."
So you throw a curveball with a
Yes.
hump. The first thing is curveball. Second thing is not in the zone, probably. You know?
Yeah. Right.
And then
That's what I mean. This is kind of the idea of the second swing, as I like to say, with like changeups, of when it's not the fastball. Now I need to kind of restart it. You see that a lot of times with like a batter trying to slow him down. It's that kind of thing. So it's like not the fastball.
So
You pull it back a little bit.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit off stage, and I said, he was like, "Well, how do you think this like lines up with what teams are doing?" I'm like, "It's exactly what you could do in the public sphere, because the thing that teams are doing that takes us to another level is adding biomechanical markers."
Yeah.
Because what you just said, you can see that in the data, where if you track hands all the way through, you can see fastball swing, and then you can see the fastball swing that stopped being a fastball swing.
Right.
You actually see the hands be like, "Oh," and they try to slow the hands.
Yeah.
You know.
You also see it in the lower half too, where like you see these swings where they're just so far out in front. I mean, when we've talked about that for ages, like, oh, I got him on his front foot. That is sometimes just what we're trying to do.
I think what
pitcher, you're not trying to strike him out. Just get the batter on their front foot, so it's not their ace swing.
Yeah, and I think what I've seen is another. I'm saying the same thing, but another. The way this has shown up in the biomechanical data is you can't really stop your hips and your feet. Like whatever that motion is for hitting, you can't stop it. You can stop your hands. So that's exactly what you're talking about. Is like you'll see fastball in the hips and legs and stuff, and fastball in the hands, and then you can actually pinpoint the moment they were fooled, or the moment they realized they were fooled. Right. If you can pinpoint the exact moment you realize they were fooled, which is sort of what he was trying to do here, then you can start talking about how to fool and what is fooling them, and what is
what is so funny here?
Is it the sequencing? Is it the tunneling? Because sequencing and tunneling are different.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
You can throw a high fastball and a low fastball, and they could be, for some reason, work really well, but not tunnel that well.
Right.
Because they come out at different trajectories. You can
and the different key, and you're keying in at certain things. You're thinking like, okay, this is at this level, thus it's not going to be a fastball when it actually is. You can have actually like the good high vert Shane Bieber. What he used to do is, in Gallon used to, they'd have these high vert four seamers that would land low for called strikes, because they would think it would be the breaking ball underneath or the changeup underneath, right?
And the other fundamental question that I have is that, does tunneling exist on non-fastballs? Like, does tunneling exist between two other secondaries?
I would think it would a little bit with, I mean, Bradish actually was showing one yesterday with his slider and curve, which is interesting. I needed checkup on this, but I feel like in the past, those were one pitch and you just kind of spread them out, right? I always just think he had a two-plane slider.
Yeah, his breaking balls are a mess, because a lot of people say it's a four seam, but I think it's a cutter.
It's a -2 horizontal.
Yeah, so
I've never seen that with the four seamer.
So is it cutter, sweeper, curve? I don't know. It's really hard to actually do his arsenal. It's a little bit like Sonny Gray, where he can
Sonny Gray is absolutely a cut fastball,
and he's doing all this stuff with it, and you can't always tell what he's doing with it. But I also think of so Robbie Ray's throwing a sweeper, and that doesn't make a lot of sense, because he's a lefty. He's not going to see a lot of you're not going to want to throw it a lot to righties. But he said, like, it's basically like a swinging strike slider to lefties, where they see the slider, and then I throw the sweeper from the same area, and it looks like it's going to be the slider, and then it just goes like another 5-6 inches. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So, I think there's got to be some tunneling, but does tunneling exist between the slider and changeup? And if it doesn't, because you don't normally throw changeups same-handed, then how do we pinpoint it?
Yeah, that's That's
How do we
interesting. I mean, there's
pinpoint
certain
tunneling
sliders
between
that are
secondaries, you know?
well, there are some sliders that are like gyro sliders, right? That are kind of like
almost like another fastball. It's like a fastball, the fastball of sliders.
right, a Morton slider, right?
Yeah.
Like so essentially it's yeah, it's like a slow slider almost is what the changeup becomes almost. It's like, okay, cool. You think it's the slider coming, and then no, wait, it's the changeup's gonna be a little bit longer than it is. I can
Right.
imagine that working out. Also, I really wanted to mention quickly about the hip stuff. Who is the? I'm gonna ask everyone listening right now. Think of the one player who has the most extreme closed hips in baseball in their
I
batting
got it.
stance.
I
Right?
got it.
Who is it?
Giancarlo Stanton.
Exactly. So with such a strong swing and so fast, it makes so much sense if in this context that is would be closed because
Because
then
he can actually go out to the opposite field.
right. And it's
But
also
other
it means
people
that
like
he goes too fast so often, then he'd be too open all the time by the end, by the time it comes.
ah,
So you need to get more timing with it, right?
you know, one of the most open people is Peterson.
Is that right?
He's really open and he flies open. And
Yeah.
all he's trying
He's
to
just
do
stepping
is
in the bucket
yank
the
it.
entire time.
Yeah, he's just trying to yank it down the line. That's all he's
Oh
trying to
yeah,
do.
well
Is
this
yank it
is
down the line.
obviously why he has a righty-lefty split because everything's coming into him, so he wraps the bat around it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, so just throw changeups away, guys. Literally only throw changeups away to Jack Peterson. That's it. Done.
I think you could probably do
Oh.
some fastballs away too. Maybe do like backdoor breaking balls that don't look like strikes until they are.
Right. Just don't throw anything inside. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we're gonna actually talk about starting pitchers who
Yeah,
you
there
see
we
now.
go. There we go.
That was a fantastic tangent. I'm really happy to pick
How
your brain
about
about that.
putting some
I love
junk in my trunk?
He's hurt though, isn't he?
Oh God, really? It's so fast and furious with the injury.
You got so excited.
He
just got hurt.
Right
He just got
ulnar
announced. I think it's Adam Mazer instead of Janson Junk baller.
Never mind.
Well, I
if
will
Adam
say
Mazer gets his schedule. No,
You know-
I don't want Adam
You know
Mazer.
who gets? It's so unfair. It's so
Somebody else gets his
unfair
schedule.
that the Dodgers get this schedule.
Ah.
Okay, like Otani, Snell, Glasnow, and Yamamoto.
Oh, I noticed their schedule is good, but like, are there streamers on that staff?
Well, right. There's only one bad matchup, which is the Phillies, the entire rest of the way. And the streamer, well, yesterday was Emmett Sheehan, or actually on Monday, he was under 20% rostered. And yes, I would not start Emmett Sheehan for the Phillies personally. And maybe I will actually if he keeps just doing what he's doing. I think he certainly has the skills for it, but don't let 10 strikeouts in 7 innings against the Reds carpet say that he is now that forever, which is it's not what you should be thinking. He does get in Seattle, maybe as the last one, which makes sense because they don't really want him to start for the playoffs. So that would be a good person to throw out there instead. They don't need to rest him. But Clayton Kershaw is also here. And despite everything I want to tell you about him being a blessing and a curse, he's got the Pirates in Rocky Road next after Cincinnati last night. And it's just
if he's still available, I like it's magic at this point. I mean, he's throwing little poopy sliders out there, poopy splitters
cutters.
out there.
They're
and
cutters.
The splitters are cutters.
Oh no, splitters. I'm so sorry. The slider is like 2.5 mile per hour difference from the four seamer.
Oh yeah, I mean he's four seam cutter splitter all of a sudden. This is the Kershaw and the four seam has almost no velo differential off the cutter. Whatever, it works. I don't know how it works anymore. I can't believe that nobody can. And it's not only that. Like, I don't know how it works theoretically. It's like y'all have been seeing this forever, and this is obviously a diminished. Like, it's really funny because Justin Verlander. I want to get into his schedule a little bit more in a second, but Justin Verlander, like the model still likes him because it likes all his secondaries, but it doesn't like him as much as it used to like him. And so I have to think that that's relevant because they've seen Justin Verlander and his BS forever, right?
Yeah.
And so now when they see him, they're like, oh, well, this is just an easier to hit Justin Verlander. So why hasn't that happened for Kershaw? We were like, he used to sit 94 and have a 90-mile-an-hour gyro slider and then have the big hammer. And none of those things are true anymore. But you still can't hit him?
I mean, for whatever reason, I think it's that the four seamer and the slider look so much more similar now than they used to. I mean, it was a higher velocity, so it's still incredibly hard, and absolutely. But we're talking like 2 mile per hour difference, 2 to 3, And to Kershaw's credit, he is locating this thing down a ton.
And he's relying on he's like using it more like a cutter and relying on soft contact. Like the strikeout rate is the worst.
Oh, it's like 15% the last time I checked or something stupid. Probably 17 or 18 now. And yes, Kershaw is getting very fortunate. That's nice.
Here's one that I think may take a little bit of stones and may sound idiotic today.
Can't wait.
But this is this is going to be put up on Thursday.
Yeah.
So last night, Cade Cavalli went into New York against the Yankees.
Yeah.
And I'm suggesting,
yeah,
it's happening right now.
I hope you'd finish the sentence.
Oh, it's happening right now. I'm saying, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's got Miami at home, at Miami, Pittsburgh, and the Mets to close out. I'm saying it's going to take some stones, but pick him up.
Yeah. So, yeah, what was so funny about that, of course, is that he's already gone today. And he got absolutely demolished, like 4 home runs or something stupid. And he's like, I'm telling you, he's going to do all right. And like,
no. I was going to tell you he's going to get his face caved in.
Okay. Yeah. It was not a good matchup.
I was like, that's what I was saying. I was setting it up. Like,
okay, good.
He's going to take stones. It's not going to look like a good play, but I'm saying that's a really good end of season schedule. That's 4 starts where I'd start him. And that at New York Mets start is going to be late in the season. That could be one of those deals where there's nothing for the Mets to play for anymore.
Yeah.
Their wild card position is set, so and I like pitching in New York. On your spreadsheet, it's showing up as yellow or red even, and I don't know. I like pitching in New York.
All right. Jameson Tyone actually said the same thing. It was like his favorite thing. I love pitching in Citi Field, he said.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to that. I would say that I'd say one of my dark horse, like you guys probably don't really know much about him. I mean, Eno does, but don't start him against New York. Don't start him against the Twins. But he is hosting the Rays. He is going into Cleveland, and he'll go into Washington, theoretically, in his last start on the 26th of September. And that's Yoendris Gomez.
Oh, I was going to say Shane Smith.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I knew it was the White Sox schedule.
White Sox, right? I mean, also, as you mentioned, Martin Perez, I think definitely I'm with you. They're not Aaron Savali, sadly. But
Gomez, it's a decent, to me is interesting. Decent time to do. I of the White Sox, though, I think I like Shane Smith the best.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. Shane Smith, who by the way just didn't have any secondaries the other day, was just like, I'm going to go 4-seamer and sinker, and that's it. But
like, what's the next step for him? I mean, I kind of like, what do you think of Shane Smith next year? Like,
I don't know. I hope that he improves the kick change. I hope that
which is the only pitch the model says is above average, but I think the 4-seam's all right.
4-seamer is too. That's 7 feet extension, 96.
Yeah,
it is below. It is like terrible vert. But I feel like that's enough, and it makes some sense with the sinker and 4-seamer, right? That is just, you're talking about tunneling before, and with bat tilt, it's 4-seamer versus sinker. Aaron Judge just said that's the hardest thing, right, in the zone to hit.
I may avoid him next year, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's also the White Sox too, and also he won't really go very high, I don't think. So he's just someone we kind of monitor and see. But for September, Yoendris Gomez is someone with, I think he had a 122 FAN4 plus in his last start on his 4-seamer, which is the 4 elements of earning a whiff. So it was about 95, 96 with good vert, with above average extension, above average height adjusted VA. I think it was like 1.7. He just needs to command a little bit better upstairs, and he has 2 whiffable breakers. It's something that I'm very curious to see how it develops by the end of the year if he keeps getting these starts, and I don't really see why not. So someone at least to be aware of starting in the 9th against the Rays in Chicago, Yoendris Gomez. Would you say that Cade Cavalli is your dark horse streamer, like the one that's like,
yeah, especially with the 7 runs today? The other one that's interesting is because he's I think there's been a lot of rage dropping of Justin Verlander. So rage, probably a lot of leagues where he's available that maybe he shouldn't be. That first of all, the projections are really decent, like a 4.15 ERA and a 21% strikeout rate. is fairly decent for this quality of players. Like, just for example, who have we talked about? McGreevy has a 4.43 ERA projection in my numbers. Ciccone has a 4.34. So, decent baseline projection. The splits this year: 4.04 ERA at home, 5.29 on the road for Verlander. So I would lean towards using him only at home. And then you'll notice there's a lot of pitfalls in the schedule. It's an uneven schedule, but it is the type of schedule where maybe you could pick up Verlander and start him every other start if that's the kind of league you're in, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Keep him on your bench for some, because listen to this. Reverse Baltimore. That just happened.
No. That's happening soon. That's what just happened with the Cubs last night for Verlander.
Oh, okay. So it's this weekend. So versus Baltimore this weekend. I'm sort of 50-50 on that. That's a good team, but at least he's
50-50 is exactly what I'd say too.
At St. Louis, that's one of the few away games I'd start him at.
Yes. Good. Yeah.
Then he's versed LA at home. It's one of the few home games I wouldn't start him for.
Yeah.
Then he's at Arizona. I think that's a big miss. Don't do that one. You may talk yourself into it because Arizona's not the same team, but Arizona's sneaky good. They've seen Verlander. I think that's a bad one. Then he finishes, and hopefully, see, this is the other thing. He's such a veteran, and the Giants by that point may just be totally out of it. If he finishes the season strong, he's got versus St. Louis, versus Colorado at home, and that's a beautiful thing to have for your head-to-head finals.
Oh my gosh! And on that note, Tristan Beck might be coming back, and Tristan Beck.
They've
when
lost
he
so
was,
many people.
I guess, what was it, early 2023 or so? We got some looks at him. He was 24.
It's a good slider.
He would get Rocky Road that last weekend.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very curious how this plays out for the next month or so. Obviously, if he is going well, you'll know.
It could be they might be piggybacking because they have Kai Tang, Carson Seymour, and Tristan Beck, and they may just have base. And then they called up Keaton Wynn. But they may need Keaton Wynn in short bursts, but they may just use all four to cover two spots. So it's a little bit dicey in San Francisco.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. Carson Wisenhunt as well, who I
but
imagine
Verlander might be pitching for. But Verlander might be pitching for another contract. Like he said, he wanted to pitch till he's 45.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh, 45. By the way, Robbie Ray's on this team too, and his last 3 starts have been 94, and then 92, and then 91. And
I decided not to talk to him about that. I talked to him about that. I kept it.
Oh, the wise Eno Sarris. Hey, man, you do really badly. I decided not to say that. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that I didn't see any mention of it. There's like, what's going on? 92, 91 last 2 starts, and you had 0 strikeouts in your last game with 4 walks. Like, what? That is scary.
We did talk a little bit about how like he's still doing some of his rehab stuff during the season because he thought, why would you stop doing, like, why is it good to do this stuff and then good to stop doing it? Like,
right?
Is it good or is it not? So he's still thinking about things. I think he might be fatiguing.
That makes a lot of sense. Right. It's his first full season back, I believe, from Tommy John.
Yeah. So I think it just might be a long season. And then, you never know, like, and this is total speculation. I don't want to suggest that he said anything like this to me. But, maybe he's made his case for whatever contract considerations or, like maybe he's, maybe he's like checked out a little bit. I'm not saying that he has, but like, the Giants aren't that good, and maybe it's better for him to preserve his health. He's going to have a good season no matter what he does from here on out, right?
Yeah.
It's going to look good in the final estimation. So maybe it's a little bit about like play out the string, don't get hurt.
Okay, on that topic, do you think that you're going to look, if we have some good streaming options ahead of us, like let's say it's even Emmett Sheehan for the next 2 games.
I wouldn't drop Ray for any of them.
You wouldn't?
Of you, though. I don't think so.
Okay, so I will mention
he's above the line.
It is Baltimore. But then it is in Coors, and then Arizona twice, and then the Dodgers.
That's what he gets?
Yeah.
Well, how is his schedule so different than than Verlander's? That's amazing.
because Verlander gets the Cardinals
Verlander
and
avoids at Colorado. Yeah.
Avoids at Dodgers too. Yeah.
That's crazy. Maybe I would, because that's a pretty terrible schedule.
It's a
That
horrible schedule.
That is awful.
So what I would say probably is see what it looks like against Baltimore. And if we're still seeing the same kind of
definitely then you would be like, I don't want him for at Colorado, and then I
and
probably
then
don't
it's
want
like,
him
well,
for at
okay.
LA. So
And I often say that a bird of hand's worth 4 in the bush at this point. When it comes to this week,
maybe he'll still be out on the wire, when I need him back.
Yeah.
Everything is just about, like, at this point of the season, everything is about almost just tomorrow.
Yeah.
Here's a pickup that is young, and you should just pick him up, and he has an opportunity in the rotation. And should I tell them?
You should wait and wait for the break.
Yeah, let's do it after the break.
This is really funny, I think I was trying so hard to get this into this podcast, and I was like, "What's the good moment? What's the good moment?" I was like, "Okay, I don't have it," and I think you're just saying it right now. Who are you talking about, Eno?
Do you think you could guess?
Oh, I guess not. There's a really obvious one.
I think it's pretty obvious.
I mean, it's Jonah Tong.
Oh, that's a good one. But I think mine. You'll say mine is obvious.
Tolle then is the other one.
No, Jacob Latz.
Oh, I'm so excited! He might get a spot right for Eovaldi.
I think because Eovaldi strained his rotator cuff and he's out.
Oh, right.
It is a question. So he has. I've given him Eovaldi's schedule.
Yeah, that's what we're doing as well since that news came out. And so it's the Angels first, but I think we can't really go for.
I think the only problem with the Angels is is it 3 innings, 4 innings?
Right. Really just circle the Marlins and at Cleveland for the last 2 that would happen for Latz.
Yeah. I think but it could be a situation where, let's say, a 15-team league or something, where you actually pick him up on waiver wires this week and maybe not start him right away.
Right. And he would be at home against the Brewers, which you were saying, of course, Arlington.
I think that's doable. I actually like his last 3 starts. So
Global Life Park. It will always be Arlington. All right, everyone.
But have they said what Tong's role is?
Well, Tong is starting, and I have no idea. I mean, first of all, I'm a little surprised that they are, because they have a 5-man rotation. They can go one more week and wait for Tyler McGill. But
so they're going to a 6-man?
Because they didn't have an off day this week, so they're trying to get a break.
Okay. So Tong and McLean, and then Tyler McGill is supposed to be up next week. So
is it actually or not? He was able to be added.
They
moved Montas to the 60-day IL, which opened up the Tong, because that means he was on the 40-man, but he can now. The way I think about this is the Mets have a window that is right now. And I think a lot of us would agree, if Jonah Tong is incredible on Friday, and I actually am breaking my rule of do not start pitchers in MLB debuts because it's against the Marlins, and I just go, come on, guys. That's a rehab start in AAA or whatever.
Plus, it's such an extreme, weird delivery. Yeah. There's no way that anybody on the Marlins has ever seen a pitcher like this. And it broke our dang model. It's the #1 stuff plus in the minors, and it might not actually be. Right. Because we have to guess. We have a model within the model that has to guess arm angle for minor leaguers. And it thinks that Jonah Tong throws from a 30-degree arm angle, which, if you've ever watched Jonah Tong, he throws from if there was a 90, it's almost a 90. Like he throws, it's Lincecum in a way. Like he throws over the top. He jerks his whole body. He gets his hand up. It's like a 65-70. So our model is saying, because he releases from such a low place with so much extension, it sees it as a side armor. And he's actually an extreme over the topper. So I'm a little afraid for what will happen. But I actually think, in a weird way, the model is capturing that it might be some of the best stuff in the minor leagues, just because it's so friggin' weird.
Yeah.
Plus, the strikeout rates are through the roof. There's nobody who's going to come in there and be like, well, that was a comfortable at bat. Totally saw that all the way through.
Great extension.
Great extension. And a Tim Lincecum, he's jumping at you. He's throwing over the top. There's nobody who throws like that. So I think the only risk for me is that, like, in year 2 or 3, people are like, okay, I got it.
So this is the thing.
It's actually not that good. It's just super weird.
Who is the ace of the Mets right now?
No, I agree with. I think the point you were trying to make was like, for them, for this playoffs, they just need to identify who's going to be like their Francisco Rodriguez, who's going to be their like out of nowhere arm that no one has seen. Is it going to be McClain? Is it going to be Sprode? Right. Is it going to be Tong? Who's just going to come in and help us rip through through the postseason?
Right. So like,
they haven't seen him.
So David Peterson is fresh off of 2 games of 18 strikeouts combined. Feels like you can't remove that.
I think you. I mean, I guess you start games with Senga, Peterson, and Manaea, but like, right. I think, Peterson puts 3 guys on in the second inning in the playoffs, and Tong might come out of the bullpen. Right.
Well, here's the other thing, though. I mean, Sean Manaea has a 3rd time through the order penalty. I mean, it's dramatic.
I mean, right. I think you could pair him with Nolan McClain.
Exactly. You could piggyback him specifically. I would also mention that Kodai Senga has not been Kodai Senga for the past month and change.
I think Holmes goes. Yeah, it's true, and not since the injury. And I think Holmes goes to the pen just because he's like a really good, like, we need a ball on the ground right now. Like,
so what I'm getting at here is that as of right now, when I think about who is the potential 6th inning guy on this rotation, sure, maybe it's Peterson, but it could be Nolan McClain.
But he has a lefty problem where he walks lefties.
Right. I remember us talking about that. You got me more aware of the flaws of McClain. But
Long is fastball curve change, so he seems like he's
the four seamer should be just platoon.
He should be. Yeah, it might be Tong.
Well, that's the thing, is that you might see both McClain and Tong. Might be sitting here being like, these are our 2 best pitchers. We have a potential World Series to go and get since '86. Like, we can't not.
McGill is kind of like a 4-inning guy too. Like, he's always great for the first 3 or 4 innings, but then he has a little bit of a velocity drop off. He's kind of like a little bit shaky velocity. McGill does.
Yeah. Oh, that's not.
And we don't know even what his first inning of velocity is coming off the injury.
Oh man. So yeah, definitely go and add Jonah Tong. Who was the sneaky one that you actually wanted to talk about?
I don't know.
Latz. You said you've got this guy, and I was like, it's Jonah Tong. Like, oh, no.
Jacob Latz.
Oh yeah, Jacob Latz. You already did that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now in Boston, that's an interesting situation. I remember saying for like a couple of weeks, like, why is Walker Buehler still pitching in these games that matter? Finally, they say, okay, you know what? We're not going to put him in rotation. We're going to bring in Richard Fitz. But then what happens? Richard Fitz gets hurt with an apparent arm injury. I don't know if we had got an update on that one. You might know it. But it doesn't look like Richard Fitz is now pitching in that spot.
No, I think the early reports is bad for Fitz.
So that's terrible. And I feel so bad for Richard Fitz, by the way. Oh my gosh. He's had just such I don't know. He's been toyed around essentially by the Red Sox the entire season and never been able to get his feet planted and actually get into some good routine. But you have Cooper Criswell, I guess, but really Parker Tolle is the one that everyone keeps talking about as like the next one for the Red Sox. There's no better situation to do it. My understanding of Parker Tolle is that he has been blowing through the minors as far as strikeout rate goes. He's a lefty. He's interesting. And he's certainly just one of those guys that if he does come up, you should just roster it and see what happens. I would at least be aware of that. Pitching for the Red Sox is not fun in Fenway, but it is kind of good on the road. And yeah, I would at least just pay attention to that one. I'm just trying to think of other
potential. How do you spell his last name?
Tolle. Parker Tolle, I believe, is Payton Tolle.
Payton
Tolle. See, and this is how good I am with prospects, guys. I just say Parker Messick is Parker Tolle.
Let me see if I've got. Let's see if I've got his numbers in AAA here.
I have some that I can give you in a moment. But then on the Yankees side, by the way, just going across them from the Mets, Cam Schlittler just looks amazing. If he's not rostering your team, I don't know what's wrong with you. You got to do that. Fried and Rodon, obviously. I am curious, and we'll go back to Tolle in just a moment, though. Luis Gil and Will Warren, where do you stand on them? Luis Gil kind of had a start against the Nationals last night. Will Warren goes against the White Sox tomorrow.
I'm keeping them. I'm just going to ride or die. I mean, there's I think the only real time I'd be scared. I mean, heel at Boston, home against Toronto, sandwiched between the White Sox and Twins. Like I'll just probably not start him at Boston. I mean, Schlittler's is a better schedule. And Warren's is a better schedule because Warren's is White Sox, Astros, Tigers at Boston, at Baltimore. I'm only not playing him at Boston. So Warren is an unqualified hold. Heel, if you can I would say maybe only start him 2 out of the last 4. And if you want to start him against the White Sox and then drop him for the last 3, like, I guess this is a little bit like the Robbie Ray situation where it's like you're going to drop some people that you think true talent are good pitchers, but they just don't have a schedule that makes sense.
This is why I don't do the top 100 anymore.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year. Now, Payton Tolle, just to give you some quick numbers on this, his four-seamer has 7.4 feet of extension at a 1.1 height adjusted BEA. It is not good verts. It is 14. It's 6 inches of
93 stuff plus.
PLV didn't love it. 4.86 at 95. But he does throw it in the zone at least. It is 57% zone expectation.
Looks now, like by a amount thrown, it's cutter, slider, curve are his main 3 secondaries.
Yeah, cutter, slider, curve is right. The cutter is at about 90 miles per hour, big zone pitch, and it does look like what I'm seeing is a popular thing among lefties is throwing four-seamer cutter up and away to right-handers, which is this game of, is this going to land back in the zone?
Try to get a take or something.
Right. That's what Jacob Lopez did until he just got hurt randomly. And it's like, oh, cool. That was a fun ride, I guess, until we just got blown up by it. I hope he's all right.
Got a 97 stuff plus on the cutter.
Okay. And then you have a slider at 86, which looks like a strike pitch. It's really just, if you look even the strike zone plots, it just kind of goes down from that up and away to right-handers. And no changeup. I guess it's like 6% usage, which I guess is a little frustrating considering we've seen so much success from lefties with changeups. But it is an 82 mile per hour curve though that
has 130 stuff plus. So maybe the curve is his like platoon weapon.
It might be. He's thrown it pretty much half and half so far in like the small sample we've seen of I think 2 starts.
I don't know. It's a pretty wide arsenal though. That's I like that.
And then the changeup actually has a fair amount of movement relative to the fastballs. It looks like it's a kick change with a 0.4 vert, which is okay. All right, you haven't thrown it too many times, but that could work. And I would just pay attention to that. Super high extension guy with 95 from the left side is not a thing that a lot of people see.
But what are the team factors here? Boston is, headed towards the postseason. They are Crochet and Bayo and Giolito May, I guess, like some sort of combination of those two.
Yeah, that's.
I think Tolle might just be a short term, keep our pitchers fresh. I don't know. There's Kyle Harrison lurking too, so. I don't know. I don't know how deep of a bet I'd make. If I saw him as a confirmed starter, I'd treat him as a starter for that game alone.
Yeah, I would think that we should be. What's interesting is I expected it to be Kyle Harrison by now for the Red Sox. However, they keep wanting to work on things with him.
And he's not doing well.
He actually lost feel for the four-seamer command and focus on the cutter. And then Payton Tolle is just kind of wrecking. And it might be a case where they don't want to push it with Harrison and just give him a chance. I don't know. Something to be aware of.
Good. I don't think that was a good trade. I don't think that's a good part of the trade. I don't think he'll be good for them. Here's a team situation I do want to highlight real quick because in your sheet that you sent me, there's a lot of green, and I don't know if I agree with it.
Okay.
And it's the Athletics. And I think the PLV projections are spitting out some greens for home games.
Yes, for in Sacramento. So like hosting the Red Sox, for example, or the
Detroit. I'm like, is that really green? I don't. So if you have the stomach to start an Athletic at home against Boston, then there are some schedules like Luis Morales has Detroit at home. Huh?
He throws hard.
Yeah, he throws hard. He has no idea where it's going, but he has Tigers at Cardinals, Boston at home. That's a slightly palatable, and he ends with at the Pirates. But I also like JT Ginn a little bit, and he has Texas at home at Angels versus Cincinnati. Then you could just drop him before at Boston. So there might be some opportunity in Oakland, Sacramento, but I don't have the stomach for that park. So I have like 1 or 2 shares of JT Ginn, and I don't think I'm going to be acquiring Morales shares. I think I'm going to put a big bet avoid on this.
So with the one I really would push is the Reds carpet is such a real thing. Of you want to face the Cincinnati Reds away
They
from
get Ginn, Severino, and Bideau, I think, are the starters.
right. So it could be Bideau, it could be Luis Morales might be timed for it. Because it looks, I mean, the way we see it is currently Bideau that gets replaced by Severino. And then Morales would get replaced by Jack Perkins, but Perkins likely isn't going to be back in time, I don't think. So then he would get that red start to whoever that is. Maybe it turns out to somehow be Jeffrey Springs instead. Maybe Mitch Spence comes back and does amazing things. Whatever it is, just be aware of that moment for the Athletics because it could turn out very well. I do want to highlight some very last ones at the very end here. I've
got a dropper for you.
Oh yeah. I want to move away from Hurston Waldrep for the next 2 against the Cubs. He just looked very bad last night against Miami. 0 strikeouts. Had a volatile splitter, and it's almost like that's why you don't like splitters as your number 2 pitch. Just throwing it out there. Then you have Joey Wentz, who's going against Miami tonight that I'm very excited about. Not against the Cubs twice, and then gets the Nationals twice. And as a lefty, I'm very much into those 2 starts for Joey Wentz.
Here's a dropper for you.
And the 22nd.
It's not necessarily a dropper by your metrics, but it's a dropper for me. Brandon Pfaadt at Dodgers, Boston at home, at Minnesota, dropping those. At the very end, he gets San Francisco at home. That you maybe re-pick him up for that if he's still out there.
I don't care. No, he's a pipette. Absolutely. Don't just end this one here. We have Colin Rea, who you just keep going with. It's such a good schedule for the Cubs and also one of the elite defenses. I believe they're the 3rd in outs above average this season. You have also, there was one other team I wanted to bring up, the Royals. The Royals are an interesting one because they have a very bad end of season schedule.
But in the meantime, like a Bergert, White Sox, Angels at Cleveland, I'll take that 3.
Absolutely. Bergert. Oh my gosh. I'm still going after Noah Cameron, even though he didn't do well against the White Sox. I actually think he pitched kind of well. And I don't think it's purely fatigue or something along those lines. We usually see it differently than this.
I'm having an intestinal emergency.
So anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here.
I scarfed lunch right before this, and it has turned into a problem.
Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us today and getting through the interruption before. Eno Sarris, it's always wonderful to see you. Good luck on your Cade Cavalli call against the Yankees today. And my name is Pollack, and we'll talk about the craft of pitching again next week.